But when we're ultimately, I feel like we might be seeing not only in this regard, but a power shift more generally in the league. And I'd love to hear your perspective on. I know you're always talking about the MVP odds, but I'd love to hear what you got from me on the power shifting in the NBA.
Well, I think it was interesting because we talked about this a little last time off. I put up a post about the odds this week through our partners, NBC partners at PointsBet, about MVP odds. And who are your three favorites? Luka Doncic is number one, and tied for number two are Giannis Antetokounmpo and Joel Embiid, with Jokic, the two-time winner, third, fourth. And I get why he's fourth because, the last guy to three-peat was Larry Bird 40 years ago. Like, it's unlikely. I'm not saying he can't do it. It's just that's a mountain to climb. But all four players I just mentioned, they are not American-born. They're not like they are. Embiid came out of Kentucky and the American system a little bit, but it is a shift in terms of these are guys who came out of systems where team basketball was more first than the kind of individualized basketball that comes through the AAU system. And maybe that is an impact. And it's I know it's discussed around the NBA. I think you've seen it.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is the road widening, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is why, in the context of our conversation around divas, this is really fascinating. I love this comment by Luka Doncic. He was on JJ Redick's podcast, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I was trying to get Jokic to get an Instagram," and he's like, "No chance." And Luka was trying to explain to JJ, you can make a lot of money doing TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and all this stuff. But he was saying that Jokic just loves his horses. The guy just loves horses, and he's not into, he's not into
funny videos of him just on horses this summer.
So I'm sitting here and I'm like, that's why this dude's the man. And I feel like we're seeing two different, the divergence though on the elite level. And we're not talking about role players, because I think that's a whole different. I'm talking about the cream of the crop. Who are the faces of the NBA talent-wise? All those players are European or international players, and I think that the way that they operate is just so different than the superstar diva way that this generation in America operates. Because I think there's this pre-professional program where it's very much you get discovered by Disney Channel, you're a child actor, and then you want to go be a movie star or whatever. But then you either pan out because the hype is too large, or you become some sort of amazing talent. I think that this kind of latent fame in the European system is a good thing, quite frankly, because Jokic was a second-round draft pick.
Yeah.
So Giannis wasn't top 5.
Nope.
So you think about some of this latent fame, I think is a good thing for these guys, because I think expectations are a little off. And the fact that Jokic is a back-to-back MVP, which is a short list, you're talking to guys like LeBron James, Kareem, to think that he could become like Larry Bird. And he's not even, when you think, if you're going to ask somebody randomly on the NBA, who's one of the best players in the history of the NBA, and if you're thinking about a three-peat of an MVP, I don't know if people would just immediately say, "Oh, Jokic."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, but I think he's got to secure his legacy more in the postseason. And by the way, I think that can start this year. They're finally healthy with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and knock on wood, if they're healthy, they're going to be a dangerous team come the playoffs. It's a long time away, but I think he can start to secure a little more of that. But that's the European system is just, if you come up as an AAU star, if you're Jason Tatum or Ja Morant or Devin Booker, and by the time you're 14, the ball is in your hands pretty much every time down the court in an isolation set, right? You're going into these games, these AAU coaches want to win, your high school coach wants to win, and they know the best way to do that is just to give their best player the ball all the time. And I don't know, you get the players who come out of the European system where it's a more team-based, a lot more cutting, a lot more ball movement, partially because of the way the rules are enforced and the physicality that's allowed. But you get a lot more of that. I think once they translate that to the NBA, you see Jokic is an MVP in part because he's the best passing big man we have ever seen. If you cut around Jokic, you will be rewarded, right? If you cut around Doncic, you will be rewarded. Giannis is kind of his own. He is the Greek freak. There's just not another Giannis. But his playmaking skills are better. He's improved. He sets guys up, and I think that broader range sometimes allows you to excel as an individual, but lift your teammates up in a way. I'm not sure. Maybe it just takes longer for a Jason Tatum to learn that.
No, I think it's actually, this is what happens in my opinion.
Okay.
Because of that system you described in America, and the fact that, by the way, not like in other countries and stuff, it's all connected, like the federation all the way down. So it's consistent level of coaching because it's run by the same organization. Whereas in the United States, like anyone can start, anyone can have an AAU team. Like anyone can like coach these kind of teams. So you're learning all these different styles of coaching by people who may or may not be good coaches. And then by the time you get to college, which you're only going to spend a semester there, and then you're going to the league, it's a pre-professional program, or you just go straight to the G League. So let's say, for instance, you get 18 years of wildly inconsistent coaching, right? Then you get to the league and you finally meet a master. You get Eric Spoelstra, you get Eric Spoelstra, you get, Coach Popovich, you get, like Brad Stevens coaching you basketball now, Steve Kerr coaching you. And they're like, wait a second. Like, where are the fundamentals? where are all the basic building blocks? You have the athletic talent. You've been playing off of talent. Now let's break you down, and then teach you the fundamentals and then build you back up. The issue is, one, the ego point of that. I was a number 1 draft pick. I was the first round draft pick in the NBA. What I've been doing has brought me this far. I'm a millionaire now. I come from nothing or whatever. Like, what do you mean you want to change my shot? What do you mean I don't know how to play basketball? That is hard enough. And then the second part too is like the fan expectation. We're paying this guy a lot of money, and it's going to take you 5 or 7 years to get him back to a place, take him down and build him back up. Like, what if he doesn't perform? We're going to trade him. We're going to ask, we're going to come from somebody's head and someone's going to get fired. And I think that's what you see in some of these places where like you have great coaching, where people are just, their patience or gets, exhausted. People are like, okay, we're not going to wait 5 years for whatever, Van Gundy to teach these New Orleans Pelicans how to play basketball,
Yep.
I
think that's why it's one of the reasons I think Kawhi Leonard got to be a success. And I think Jonathan Kuminga could be the same kind of thing, because he went there, he goes to San Antonio, and they can bring him along slowly and take advantage of teaching him how to use that athleticism in a proper way in a team game, because we already got Duncan and Ginobili and Park. We're going to win a ton of games, so it doesn't matter. Isn't that sort of where Jonathan Kuminga and to a degree Moody is, right?
And James Wiseman and Jordan, I think that entire team. That's why the Warriors, to me, that's why Andrew Wiggins. That's why, in my opinion, he's experienced a revival, a renaissance, because he went through that system of top draft pick, be the guy, but then as you're trying to unlearn and then relearn, the team is failing. And then it's like, we signed you on this huge contract. Goodbye, good riddance. Now he had protection and culture. And it's also the thing about culture is that in the sense of protection, it doesn't necessarily matter if you have 1 or 2 down seasons. Like, remember when Steph broke his hand? Because they're like, Steph, Kerr isn't going to get fired, after one bad season. Whereas like Vogel won a championship, and Frank Vogel won a championship in LA and was fired, like a couple of years later. So the fact that there is that stability there, it's okay. Spoelstra's not going to get fired if Miami Heat have a bad season. He's still going to be able to teach Tyler Hero how to play basketball.
Stability of culture, I think, and I think that goes to ownership. It's ownership. Good ownership remains like the greatest secret weapon in pro sports. But stability of ownership and stability of culture and style, like you said, the Heat are the Heat. They're going to be the Heat. And the Spurs are that way to a degree. Popovich will step away in the next, whenever Popovich wants to step away, but probably in the next few years. But you really don't think their culture is changing, right? Like, it's not going to. Nothing is really shifting for them. Whereas, by the way, just as a counter, you're really seeing a shift in how Utah does things, largely since the Millers gave up ownership and Ryan Smith comes in and buys the team. And it's not necessarily good or bad, but it is definitely a shift in how they're trying to approach things, because that started at the top. And I think consistency over time matters so much. He's like, especially if you're not in. Look, the Knicks are going to make money regardless, because they're the Knicks, and the Lakers will make money because they're the Lakers. And I'm not to knock those two ownerships in particular, but like, if you are in Miami, or if you're in Utah, or if you're in San Antonio, or if you're in Memphis, you need that consistency of organization to make it really work, because you can't just reset the button and go get a free agent like some teams can.